Okay guys, so I wanted to do a quick video for you guys. First of all, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just my experience with the crypto field and mining field. And this is actually my first experience with the Wondershare software. So we'll see how this goes. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into how I'm trying to still figure out which miners I want to buy. And I had gone through kind of in the other video how I was kind of figuring out how much power I had to use. So basically the way my solar system's set up is I have a little over 100 panels on the property, and that produces about 50,000 kilowatt hours per year. Now, if we do some quick calculations, there is about 8,760 hours in a year. So you can basically divide 8,760 into 50,000, and you can essentially use a constant about 5,700 watts. And that would be 100% offset. And obviously there's a little bit of variation, and generally solar systems in San Diego tend to overproduce. So we could round that up to 6,000 watts. So you can essentially run about 6,000 watts constant without having to worry about electrical costs. And that's because it's about a 38 kW system. And that's the kind of production you're going to get. So you have to figure out exactly how you want to use those kilowatts. And the easiest way to do that is to, obviously, first thing you want to do is just go on to asicminervalue.com, and you can see all of the latest miners that are essentially available. Some of them aren't available. They're still coming out. And you can see kind of how much money they make per day. And obviously their wattage also. Their decibel, for me, doesn't really matter. The hash rate isn't really that important because obviously you're looking at the dollars per day. And these are all based on a really low electrical cost. So just keep that in mind, that if you are paying more than, I don't know what these things are set at, but this thing's saying it only uses $7.57 a day in electricity, which is, not accurate for California at all, because California has, I think now, the most expensive electric rates in the world. So the only way that mining is even feasible in Southern California is to have a giant solar system. And then on top of that, even with the solar system, you're only going to be able to have so much available wattage. Just like my giant solar system is only going to allow me about 6,000 watts of constant draw. And on top of that, then you need to look at efficiency of miners. So, if we were looking at the Gold Shell KD6, which is kind of why I wanted to make this video, because I am looking at the Gold Shell KD6s, and I am also a big fan of the Antminer L7s, the 9.5s. And even if you look at like the 9.05, the 9.16, and the 9.5, there's not a huge difference in money per day, but you will pay somewhat of a good size difference for those miners, because people value the 9500 hash rate a lot more than they value the 9050. And then also there's an 8.8 model out there that I've seen, and I don't even know if that's listed on here, but essentially you figure you can only really run two of these. Okay, you can only really run two of these guys, two of these L7s on the system that we have to be 100% offset. And they're only making about $40 a day. So if you ran two of them, you'd obviously be making around $80 a day. You'd be using up all of your available wattage. And each of these miners is about $25,000 to $30,000. So you're going to end up paying $50,000 to $60,000 for 2 Antminer L7s, which aren't going to allow you any space in your electrical usage to run basically anything else. You're going to be making $80 a day. And if you look at the Gold Shell KD6, so if we go over to BigSkyASICs.com, they have these available, but you have to keep in mind in their pricing. So the Bitmain Antminer L7, that's a 9050 mega hash, 581, which is a good price. But when you click on it, you want to make sure you're checking pre-order. So depending on, so these ones are actually 581, which is nice. So that should be pretty easy to get a hold of through this company, and it looks like they have them for pre-order. You just would want to contact them to find out exactly when these things are set to ship. I'm not sure if it shows in here, but you got to keep in mind also on this site, which is cool, that the price includes all the taxes and customs duties and everything else. So you're going to pay this amount, that's it, and you're going to get the miner. So keep that in mind. When you do import stuff direct from Bitmain, you are going to have to pay a customs fee. So generally, it's close to a little over 20%, I believe. So if you're paying, 10 grand for a miner, you're going to have another $2,500 you're going to have to pay for customs fees plus taxes. So you're going to be, in the close to $15,000 range, a little under. So you want to keep that in mind also, because you are going to be paying extra for this stuff. So you're not really paying all that much more to get it from a reputable company that has access to all these miners, and this price includes all the fees. On top of that, you have to realize also when you buy anything from Bitmain, you're going to all of their warranty is linked to whoever makes the purchase. So if you buy a Bitmain miner from, say, a person who bought it brand new, it's going to be kind of a shuffle to get a hold of that guy and have him get a hold of Bitmain to handle any repairs that you might need done, or if the item showed up and it had, which happens very often, that the heat sinks kind of snap off the boards. So you're going to want to get all of that stuff figured out. 1 second, sorry. Trying to figure out this recording thing. So it's easier. Number one, it's more safe, obviously, to go with a like Big Sky ASICs or whatever. And also, it's a lot easier to handle warranty issues because you can just go through Big Sky, and they're essentially going to handle the warranty that they have with Bitmain for that particular L7 or whatever they have. Now that brings me to my next issue. So say we're paying 25 grand for the L7s, which is a good price on Big Sky, and that's a pre-order. Now you look at their Gold Shell KD6, and these things make really good money every day. They're the #1 rated miner, period. And you have to look at their pre-order. So if you want an April pre-order, it's going to cost almost $62,000. So, or $61,200. So a little over $61,000. So, and one of the considerations to have is, like if you wanted to get it in June, yeah, you could get it for 52 grand. But if you want it, like within the next month, you're going to have to pay essentially an expedite fee. But something to keep in mind is that since this miner makes, right now today, it makes $110 a day. So if you push out your usage, so 110 times 30. So you're essentially, if you push out your miner ship date 1 month to save, let's see, what's the savings from May to March? So you're essentially going to save about $6,000. You're actually only saving a little less than $3,000 because the month that you would have had that Gold Shell to be running, if you paid the extra expedite, would have netted you $3,300. And that's obviously just what that miner is making right now today, running today on, and paying out of pocket for electrical. So, so basically, the biggest problem I'm having right now, and also just a side note on the KD6s, you're generally going to have to get a chain weaver. If you go off Kadina's site, which is kadena.io, you're going to have to get a chain weaver wallet. You can use Coinex to do Kadena kind of exchanges where you're using, you can transfer Kadena into Bitcoin and Kadena into USDT on Coinex. But keep in mind, I don't think that you can technically mine directly to a wallet in Coinex because the wallets do require another code aside from the normal address. It's kind of like how, Binance, if you're doing a deposit, they require that extra little code, the memo. So just keep that in mind. And then when we go back and look at you can actually look up, I like MinerStat to look at your mining profitability, and you can go through all here and kind of figure out what algorithm you want to mine. With the L7s, obviously you're mining Scrypt algorithm because you're running you're going to be mining Dogecoin and Litecoin. So if we go back and look at the real-time usage or the best miners, you're going to end up spending the same amount of money to buy 2 Antminer L7s that will use all of your available wattage and only net you $80 a day, as you would if you purchased a single Goldshell KD6, and it would only use 2,630 watts, which is about half of your available wattage, and you'd be making way more money. So you figure... Let's see. So we have 80 divided by 110. Yeah. So we're essentially making about close to 30% more money per day with the Goldshell KD6 than you would if you had 2 Antminer L7s. And on top of that, you're also using less electricity, which allows you to use other miners on the other electrical that you have left. So you could essentially, if you had the money, you could run a Goldshell KD6. You could run 2 of these, or you could run a Goldshell KD6 and 1 of the L7s still. So here's where I'm at. You basically comes down to how much money do you have to spend on miners, number one, how much power you have, and then do you think that Kadena is a worthwhile investment? It is a single layer blockchain. It is actually really cool blockchain. The people who started it used to run a lot of the blockchain stuff for JP Morgan. They actually created, I believe, most of the blockchain technology for JP Morgan. Then they branched out. So they have ties in centralized finance. So at this point, what I would like to do, because, even with the insane electric rates in San Diego, even if I took the money that I was going to pump into the solar system, which was another $85,000 for another 78 480 watt panels, which is about a 30 kW system. We already have a little over 7 kW system on the house currently. So if I took that money and I invested it in a Goldshell KD6, even at the April pre-order price of about $61,200, that would make me a good amount of money. Now, the only drawback to that is that obviously in my other videos, you know that I've taken out a couple $100,000 loan, essentially a mortgage, because my house doesn't have a mortgage. So we took out a mortgage on my house with a couple $100,000, and part of that money was going to go into the $85,000 solar system. Now, it would be more beneficial and more cost productive to take the money that was normally going to go into the solar system at a 4.25% APR fixed rate that was on a 30-year fixed, long-term mortgage. Use that money to purchase a Goldshell KD6, which essentially will net me more than enough money to finance the solar at a worser percentage rate, and easily make the payments and still net good money. So, because the thing is that even with a worser APR or percentage rate on that loan to pay the to purchase a solar system, the amount of money that you waste on electricity because electrical costs are so high far outweigh the interest cost you would pay on a loan that is purchasing you an asset. Anything you pay for electricity, you don't get anything out of that as far as an asset. It's an energy cost. It goes totally down the tubes. So anytime you can take any amount of energy usage and turn that into an asset, you're always going to be doing much better for yourself. Now, this is a condition that's only really specific to me in San Diego, and anybody in California really, unless they're on one of the bordering cities where they're pulling from another state's grid, like Nevada or Arizona, somewhere around there, Washington. Not Washington, sorry. Geography. So, but those are some things to keep in mind. So at this point, I think what I'm going to do is contact Big Sky ASICs and talk to them and see what kind of deal I can get if I purchase 2 Gold Shell KD6s. If I could possibly get maybe the cost for a later date pre-order and have that on the April date, I would obviously definitely do that. The only thing that kind of sucks is we are going to have to figure something else out as far as funding the solar, which I don't think will be that big of a deal. I don't think it'll be hard to do, and especially with the KD6, another KD6 on top, we're going to have plenty of capital coming in to cover any extra costs from a separate loan that we would have to take towards the solar. Plus, on top of that, if I am smart with my money and smart with investments, a lot of the Kadena can be exchanged for BTC on a daily basis, depending on how bullish you are on Kadena. And that can be obviously transferred into more of a mainstream wallet like Coinbase, and then use that to trade for, whatever else you want to trade and hold long term that you think is a little bit more comfortable for investment long term. So hopefully with our investing, we will still do decently well long term also. Plus, anytime you have a solar system, whatever power you're generating, you're not going to have to pay for it till the end of the year. So it's something to keep in mind. But on top of that, I have about enough parts and components now to sell about 30 Antminer L3 Pluses that I have. So we also have that income that can cover any extra bills that we have coming through. So I'm just trying to keep you guys kind of up to speed on the things that are going through my mind as this is a new business frontier, and we're trying to figure out how we can make money. And also on top of that, you want to mitigate as much risk as you can when you're leaving business capital in a volatile market. So if you can remove that capital from the volatile market, meaning removing that capital from actual Kadena coins and putting it maybe still in the crypto market, but in a less volatile or less perceived volatile coin like BTC or Ethereum, something like that, maybe Ripple XRP, depending on how bullish you are on Ripple, which I'm pretty bullish on Ripple. I love Ripple. You're going to do well. Plus, if you're really that bullish on Script and, Litecoin and Doge, you can transfer everything to BTC on CoinEx or through any other wallet, transfer that into Coinbase and convert from there. And you can do that every day if you want to, depending on how your payouts work for the Kadena pools. And that's another thing you're going to need to look into, which pool you want to run. There is one main pool online. So let's check here real quick. So the Kadena mining pools, There was a list. I might have missed it. So Pool Bay, let's see. One of the mining pools that was in there was literally, yeah. So there's one pool that has like 61% of the Kadena hash rate, like this was saying. I'm not sure which one it is. But I don't want to start fishing around on the, but you can go on there and see. I know Pool 2, F2 Pool also does Kadena, but it might be CM Pool. But yeah, well, you can go through and find all these and figure out kind of what pool you want to use to mine. And then just keep in mind that your KDA doesn't necessarily have a contract address. So keep in mind there are scammers out there. So if you are going to mine or if you are going to purchase KDA Kadena, make sure you are purchasing KDA Kadena. The easiest way to do it is just go on their website and go from there. I got screwed the hard way with Floki, and I ended up buying like $6,000 worth of a friggin' scam coin because I went on Etherscan and copied out the address. What I should have done was gone on Floki Inu's website and directly copied the address from their website. So, and the easiest way to find any of these tokens' websites is to use, I like to use CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. You can find the coin on there. It should have all of their legit information, and you can go from there, and that'll help you kind of stay safe out there. But just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'll give you guys some more information once I figure out what I want to do and kind of place an order. Then I can walk you through that whole process and when I'm expecting those miners to come in. I'm just trying to keep you guys kind of locked in on what's going on here and try not to get behind and keep updating you as things change or evolve, depending on funding and everything else. But that loan that I took out should fund hopefully before the end of the week. So we're technically in our 3-day waiting period after final docs have been reviewed. And then after the 3-day waiting period, we have a mobile notary. So we'll sign everything. And then we can, another few days after that, the loan will fund. And then I can officially start contacting some of these people without wasting their time and just, you know, hopefully if I can get a deal on the phone, the easiest way to kind of get a good deal is to tell somebody, hey, listen, I'm not a tire kicker. I'm ready to purchase right now. I can send you my checking account information right now and routing number. So if you can hook me up with a deal on these KD6s, I will buy 2 of them from you right now. So that always helps. Doesn't always work, but if you can do that, you might as well try it. It's certainly not going to hurt anything. So hopefully that stuff makes some sense to you. We actually have some L3 Pluses behind me on the floor that are all rebuilt and ready to go ship out. They're on eBay for sale right now. So hopefully you guys got something out of that video. I'll keep you guys posted on how everything's working out. And we'll just keep moving forward and just waiting on funding, and then we're going to be waiting on miners to come in and waiting on solar to come in, and you know, a lot of waiting. I really need to get something running in here so we have more of a cash flow other than selling stuff on eBay, because eBay fees are atrocious. But it's so much easier to do transactions through eBay, and it's a lot safer also. People seem to be more open to if there's an issue, they contact you and they give you a chance to fix it. If you sell like rebuilt miners through PayPal and you're just sending somebody an invoice, I mean, most of the time they're going to try to scam you. So you're going to send them miners, they're going to say they don't work, and they're going to ship you back miners that have other components in them. And PayPal does not read those disputes. They don't. They just automatically rule that the buyer needs to send whatever back, and they automatically debit your PayPal account. It is a huge pain in the butt to get everything figured out, and they do not read any of that stuff that you put in there. It's ridiculous. They don't read any of it. So just keep all that stuff in mind, and hopefully we can keep going and keep moving and keep Corey's Coins LLC in San Diego on the move.